largely unscripted, and the fact that it was really good.
Hold on, were there scripted interviews?
No, but I mean, for some people,
You said it was largely unscripted.
It was
as though that there was some
bullet points to
percentage.
hit.
It
He
was-
had messages to hit.
It was wholly unscripted.
Okay, okay.
But for other things,
to keep you
even
honest.
though the developers are talking about it, it is very scripted. They're like, you can only talk about this shit. They're
sure.
like, don't talk about anything else, or someone's gonna fucking yell at you. And
It's the classic
terrible.
plasma rifle problem, right?
Yep.
Like it's the muzzle that's placed on the developers to it's the PR plan, it's the multi-week
Yeah.
plan of here's what we're talking about this week.
And it's like, I mean, I guess I don't know that many people that are in PR and marketing. I would like to meet them because
No, you don't want to meet them. You don't.
Well,
need
see,
to do
that's the
that.
thing is that they have such a bad rap in the industry, at least from the development side. It's like you talk to developers, they fucking hate PR people. They hate marketing people. They think that they're like, space aliens that are coming down with their degrees and all they do is go to parties and they just don't do anything. But it's like, that's not true. Like a lot of games sell a lot of copies, a lot more than they would without these huge marketing pushes. And a lot of them are like very well done and very smart and very also very surgically targeted, which is kind of terrifying. But like the plan works a lot of the times. Like they roll it out and it's just like, dude, you hit all these beats and boom, it's like they're, what is that crazy number? I know there's like tracking numbers that they talk about, like how
Alex, do you care to talk about your
well
former life?
something is
Well, I was
doing.
just saying, there's two sides to it. I mean, there's a lot of PR people who work very, very hard at what they do. They spend a lot of time trying to create these very elaborate plans that go for months and sometimes years on end, where they're trying to hit these very specific beats to get the press interested at the right times, get people to say the right things about the games. It can be friggin' hectic, and at the same time, there are a lot of people who do this job that don't play or care about video games. And those are the ones that I think a lot of developers have an issue with, because they are just, like you said, these sort of corporate, shells of people that just sort of sit there and, dictate all this shit, but they clearly don't understand the product. And that's where I think that disconnect comes in, is that, they might be working really hard, but they're not making any real effort to understand what it is the developers are doing. And the best PR people are the ones who can actually interact with the developers and understand what the hell it is they're promoting.
Those
Sure.
just seem to be so rare, though, too.
There aren't a lot of
the
them.
issue. Yeah.
Well, I have someone that might be able to speak a little bit to this.
Oh shit!
Are we about to get pack attacked?
We have had to. I had to abruptly say goodbye to Alexander, at least for a moment here. I got to tag in Wedbush's own
Grab a microphone, sir.
Grab a mic.
analyst
right there.
analyst extraordinaire.
He's ready for it.
He's decided to not hold a microphone.
afraid of
That's gonna
a,
be pretty.
a challenging move. Let's see how it works out for Michael. Speak with the diaphragm, Michael. Go ahead and get close to that.
What
how
up?
you doing, sir?
I'm good. I've been beaten up today.
Yeah, I heard your voice almost first thing this morning as part of I believe it was the pre-show
What
ramp up.
AM was
there was
that?
There was a phone call that
no.
you were on
I did a
on
bunch
Spike
today.
TV.
Yeah.
I think prior to Microsoft.
Yeah, you come to E3 and there's a shortage of people who actually have an opinion about anything. So
Really?
So they called on me.
They're all on Twitter.
Yeah, I trended on Twitter for 10 minutes today.
Nicely done.
I dared to say that Assassin's Creed is like yesterday's news and we're kind of all over it. And I don't think that
Oh, man.
resonated with the
I
NeoGAF
have,
crowd.
well, I personally could not disagree with you more.
There you go.
So,
So
and
my
I do
point-
not self-identify that
And
way.
my
But
point is, I actually am looking forward to playing this version.
yeah.
But that's because I haven't played either of the last two, because after the first two, I was over it, and so I had to skip two to get ready for this one.
I played all of them, and Revelations was a little swing and a miss as far as that was the one where I'm like, okay, they're stretching this a little thin, of just kind of stacking mechanics, not really making any kind of fundamental changes.
They were running the risk of diluting the brand there.
They had gone back to the well with Ezio with that specific character kind of one too many times. I felt.
Yeah, I did not play either of those either.
but
and I
Brotherhood
sort of-
was amazing. I
That's-
think
I
Brotherhood.
heard great
See,
things
I've
about
never
it.
taken the plastic off because
I think Brotherhood
I liked
is-
two, and I was like, I've had enough of
I think
them.
Brotherhood's the best one so far.
I'm gonna go back and play that instead of three.
I'm excited about 3 because it is just
trolling
this,
him at this point,
this
right?
huge.
Yeah, okay.
I don't care what Michael Pachter thinks about things.
Okay, so what I've concluded is that all the posts on NeoGAF were written by you.
Yeah, that's all I've been doing today. That was my agenda
is-
for the day.
Michael Pachter, stop reading NeoGAF. Just stop it. Just stop it.
I just have to say
Yeah.
that I'm just sick of fucking fanboys. I'm sick of them. It's like if you don't,
This is gonna go well for you.
Yeah.
if you don't go.
Is this
up,
like your
if
is
you
this your
don't-
Jeff Daniels in newsroom moment, or are you
No,
just
I'm
about to
dead
fucking
serious. I'm
break
dead
the whole
serious.
thing down?
It's like the only way you can survive, the only way you come out ahead is to say everything is great all the time. God, Sony was the best press conference I've ever seen, and Microsoft had set the all-time record prior to that. And tomorrow, I think Nintendo's going to set
Really,
the
because
record.
all I hear is that was the worst press conference I ever saw, and then the next one came up. Well, no, that was the worst press
Yeah, well,
conference.
that was probably last year. But.
But no, this year, absolutely, like every single time. I like the problem is that it is that same mentality though. It's that there is this yin and yang to that.
So
This
interesting.
it's this binary, like it's either on or it's off. There is no like, well, they did okay. It's the that was the worst piece of shit and a
So
complete waste
I
of my
got-
time, or oh my god, that was untouchable. No one's gonna beat that ever.
So my point though is fanboys. So back to
Yeah.
the fanboys. So I get asked point blank. Daniel Kaiser on Spike goes, so financially, how do you rank these companies? And I go, well, Activision and EA are kind of the class of the group. Then a pretty serious notch down is Take-Two, and then several notches below that, THQ and Nintendo. And people are like, he has Nintendo lumped in with THQ. Yeah, because no shit, they lose money. That's not a good thing. If you lose money, not a good bet
I
financially.
knew that, Michael Pachter.
Yeah. and I'm like, but I mean, okay.
got that
so,
reference.
Yeah,
So guess what? It's my job. That's actually what I do for a living. It's like, would I put somebody into Nintendo stock? No, they lose money. They're not turning it around this year. They're
Didn't
going
they
to
lose money one
again.
year out of like 80 years of existence or something like
They've
that?
lost money. Well, I think they lost in 2002 and 3 as well. But
Okay.
So not out of 80 years. They've actually, you should flip it over and just say that they made a ton of money on the Wii, and they've pissed it all away. They now have less cash than they did when they started this cycle.
Wait, where
They have
did
a
that
huge
all
market
go?
cap.
Now, where did they piss it all away on?
I guess development of the Wii U.
Oh
You
my
got me.
God.
Yeah. So look, and the thing is, I don't hate Nintendo I don't think as an entity.
How
they're
could
bad
you?
People. No, great product.
It's
Great
like
product.
hating a teddy bear. You can't
Right,
do
exactly.
it.
That's what I'm saying.
They're making a movie out of that now.
Wii sales fell off a cliff for one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Wii
problem.
stopped selling.
So the problem is that there were 3 groups of people that bought the Wii who will not buy the Wii U. That's 25-year-old girls who bought it to play Guitar Hero. There are 45-year-old mothers who bought it to play Wii Fit, and there are 80-year-old grandmas who bought it to play Wii Bowling. Get up out of the retirement home bed and do some exercise.
So wait, are you saying that later group because they're not with us anymore?
So you've been interviewing a lot of older women about
You're
this.
so cold.
terrible.
You're so cold. No, I'm saying that those are the people who play Farmville and who
Sure,
are playing
sure,
mobile
okay.
phone games.
No,
And those-
I'm
right.
completely with you,
And
by the way. I
and
think there's a large
ca-
amount that
the
won't buy
casual
it.
market for the Wii has shifted over to social games and some mobile games, and the DS market is probably about half gone to tablet, smartphone, iPod games. So the best Nintendo's going to do if they do everything right is sell about half as many 3DSs as they sold DSs and half as many Wii U's as they sold Wii's. And that's just where they're going. And their company is structured to be successful. So they have too many employees, they spend too much money, and they're going to be half as successful as they were in the last cycle. And I think that they will not make money. I don't think they're going to make money again until they seriously change what they do. So anyway, my comment about Nintendo being down at the bottom, I probably should have put THQ below them, but I was kind of cranky. Didn't have enough coffee this morning.
Feeling a little saucy.
Where do you see them going long term then? Is it like kind of a Sega thing where they just eventually drift into pure software? Because
Fortunately,
they have strong franchises. They could do that if they wanted
I mean,
to.
and I'm really not kidding. If you go look at the enterprise values, take the market capitalization of Nintendo stock and subtract the cash. So if you look at,
I'm not
it's
gonna
about-
do that.
It's about
Can you
$2.5
break
billion.
it down for
It's about $2.5 billion.
Okay.
I think that their intellectual property is worth 5 or 6.
Sure.
So the market is assigning a 50% discount to the company based on how it's run, and that's just what the market's saying. This isn't what I'm saying. This is true. I mean, the market's saying
That's crazy.
these guys are going to lose money, so we're going to value them like their cash is going to go down.
You hear that, Jeff Green?
It's horrible. Well,
You're putting
not one of the- you're
Nintendo
public
out
figures,
of business.
It's frightening and
Matching
depressing.
3.
Jeff Green went to work for a company that's trading at a 15-year low. So we can go on to EA now.
What?
Well,
I,
EA
my
comes
God.
is
I
the
didn't
next
go
one,
to work
so-
for them. They bought us.
Actually, I
You
want
tried to get away.
It wasn't voluntary.
Yeah,
that was a weird pronunciation.
when you left the first time, it was probably 50, and you came back and the sucks 13.
That's all my fault.
It is.
Yeah.
I did that.
They call that the Jeff Green hit.
I'm
Michael,
proud.
I want to
We don't
talk
want
to
to
you.
talk stock. Sorry.
Well, I want to talk Microsoft because
Go.
we've kind of gone through
So
the.
you said it was the worst press conference ever.
No, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is like
Oh.
that. I don't speak in those sorts of absolutes, but that's the sort of comment that I see.
Ever.
Is like some saying, well, that was the worst
No,
press
Mr.
conference of all
Mr.
time.
Caffeine was the worst press conference ever, and we got in a Twitter war over Jamie Kennedy. You remember that?
Yeah.
Witta and me.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I dared to criticize the Mr. Caffeine performance, and somehow Jamie Kennedy got involved. It was really funny.
Well, I
Jamie
think someone
Kennedy
said
has-
like, well, at least it wasn't Jamie Kennedy, and
Yeah,
of
that
course
was
Jamie
Witta.
Kennedy has an active search for his
No
name.
kidding, because he didn't say at Jamie Kennedy.
No,
The
it
guy's,
was just
like,
the
trolling for
name.
his name.
So
So, anyways, do you want to ask about Microsoft?
Yeah,
he
so I-
stars in movies with WWE superstars now that go direct to video, so he has a lot of free time.
We have.
Jamie Kennedy.
Oh, I thought you meant Gary Witta.
No, it'd be Gary Witt as well.
I'd watch that movie. I'll say that much. I don't want to. He's a great screenwriter, but I'd much rather see him acting in those. That's
Totally.
I think that's where the magic is. I think we've kind of just
Microsoft.
we've sounded off on the Microsoft press conference highs and lows. I will say this: biggest disappointment. I didn't get to this before, but my biggest disappointment of the Microsoft press conference was the fact that Dave Lang from Iron Galaxy did not come out and demo Racketeer.
Who did not trust that man on a stage?
I
wanna
don't
know. We
I
need
don't
answers.
know. I don't know. I mean,
I want names.
Alex Rees did a great job with that game. For a little downloadable, one of the summer arcade games.
I know nothing about games, obviously, and I freely admit that.
Sure.
It reminded me of Angry Birds.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
I
that's
mean,
yeah.
Is that
accurate.
what it's supposed to be?
It's
It's
Angry
all like
Birds
that
with
game
kids.
Pain.
If you go up and say that to them on the show floor, they'll go, "Yeah,
it's pretty good.
They'll be pretty straight up about that. But there's Angry Birds was not a wholly original idea itself. So there's I say there's no harm in evolving those ideas and playing around with them. So if you want to riff on one of the most successful video game IPs, whether you like it or not,
Yeah.
of the last 5 years, I say go for it.
So back to Microsoft. Did you guys discuss Smart Glass or no?
we
Yes,
did.
we
We
did.
talked a little
Smart
bit about
glass.
it. What do you think?
I think that's the most important thing we've seen at E3.
Really?
The game of E3 so far, though, is South Park. But I thought that
Yeah.
smart.
Agreed.
I mean, that thing was freaking awesome. But the smart glass thing, I'm just going to say it here, and you guys, all you neo gaffers, write this down and come back to me in 2 years. Smart glass is telling you we're never buying internet-ready TVs because we don't need to. And I'm going to tell you now, 2 years from this E3, Microsoft's going to talk about how you're going to use your smart glass to turn on your cable box, which is going to be called an Xbox 720. And it'll have routers to all your TVs, and it'll be a Windows machine with 8 different TV shows and 8 different windows going to all your TVs.
So finally, Back to the Future 2 is going to be a
It's
reality for
happening.
me.
Oh, they could do this like now. And the model's going to be your Xbox 720, $100, $99 if you're a Comcast subscriber. It'll be just like buying an iPhone for $99.
Just subsidized by the
It is
providers.
it is so happening, and it had to have smart glass to work.
So what do you think of the significance of Microsoft not staying to their own hardware, of spreading out to because we've discussed this
bless
earlier,
them.
but
God bless them.
it
they
seemed
have
very
to.
it seemed very anti-Microsoft of the way
seemed
they
very pragmatic, which
Yeah,
is another
yeah.
way of saying not the Microsoft way. But I think Sony also with the
shouldn't laugh at
HTC.
that.
No, these guys all want to be the integrated solution, and there really is no company who's ever been an integrated solution without entertaining other devices. Apple is the closest there's ever been, and Apple allowed iTunes to be on the PC. I mean that's why iTunes worked, because 4% of computers were Apple computers and 96% were PCs at the time.
Right.
And it wasn't going to take off. So that's the only time they've ever done anything that wasn't on iOS. But look how successful they've been. So I think Microsoft's thinking, fine, smart glass, any device as long as it supports Xbox. And when you pay $99 and you sign up for Comcast for 10 years, you're going to be paying $10 a month for Xbox Live and not know it.
but the the functionality, or I guess the application for this thing, that like, are you seeing that the way you're describing it is not game application?